All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Blind Spot, where we talk with blind athletes reaching excellence. I am your host, Kyle Coon, United States Association of Blind Athletes Program and Safe Sport Coordinator. Whoo, guys, we are just chugging right along. We've had some awesome conversations with a lot of our Goalball Paralympic team members. And we've got just a couple more to go with in this series. But guys, as always, make sure you are tuned in to the USABA social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, as we are always pushing out content. With our 45th anniversary being this year, with the Paralympics being, oh gosh, opening ceremonies are only 20 days away. Actually, I think technically it'll be the 24th in Japan. So really, we're only like 19 days away from opening ceremonies, which means we are only 3 weeks away from rolling out the goal balls and starting pool play. But as you guys know, I could prattle on all day. You guys are here because we've got another blind athlete that has reached huge amounts of excellence, and she is continuing to push the limits. It is my great pleasure to be chatting with Miss Asya Miller today, who is going to be representing Team USA at her 6th Paralympics, multiple time medalist. And oh my gosh, Asya, it's such an honor to be chatting with you today. So just first and foremost, welcome to the blind spot, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Kyle, for having me, and I appreciate the introduction.
Yeah, so why don't we just dive right in? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your eye condition and walk us through how you kind of got started playing goalball and what your whole Paralympic journey has been like.
All righty. So the condition I have is called Stargardt. It's a
Mhm.
form of juvenile macular degeneration, and it came about sometime between like junior high and high school, kind of a subtle onset that we didn't figure out until midway through my junior year.
Mhm.
And so when I went to college, I chose a college that had a reputation for being good at accommodating visually impaired people. And so I went to Western Michigan University. And
Okay.
because of their reputation of being such a good school for the visually impaired, they happen to have a good football program started by the Ponchillas there. And
Mhm.
so I had met other people with visual impairments who also played and, said, hey, you're athletic. You should give it a try. And so I did.
That's we've had a lot of it seems like a lot of the Paralympic goalball athletes have kind of come through that Western Michigan connection. um you know did you where did you grow up? Did you, I mean, and like, how did you find that Western Michigan was that great fit for you? Was it a local connection, or yeah, like where did you grow up and how did you get connected with Western Michigan to start with?
I grew up in a smaller town, Lapeer, just east of Flint, and there really weren't any other visually impaired people around. I think there was one younger boy in my school I met later on,
Mhm.
but a lot of the information got filtered through my visual aid like teacher that I would meet up with,
Mhm.
and she had offered like, hey, there's the sports camp at Western Michigan, which I totally ignored at the time. And I'm like, you know
Right.
what? I just play sports with my regular school. I don't need that. Not knowing the significance of those sports camps.
Yeah.
So, she was the one who told me, gave me the information about the schools. And actually, when I went out to Western Michigan and I met the people, I started volunteering at these sports education camps. And that's where you've seen all these young athletes come up through that pipeline, like Tyler Marin, John
Yeah.
Cusco, as
Yeah.
well as like Alexis Gillette. And there have
Mhm.
been other Paralympic athletes who came up through that pipeline. So it was sports education camps were like a huge, huge grassroots pipeline for finding and making these Paralympic athletes.
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned it a little bit. You participated in in sports as as a high schooler, and I believe Sydney was your first games, and you actually went as a dual sport athlete for both track and field and goalball. Is that right? I mean, can you walk us through what it was like juggling those two sports?
Yeah, I did track in high school. Actually, it was my gym teacher in 10th grade. Some of the girls were practicing shot put for a track meet, and my teacher was like, "You're strong. You should try it." And so I did. And track and field, is the only sport in high school you can't get cut from. So I, did that for 3 years, and then I also went as a walk-on for throwing to Western Michigan. And so my background was definitely in track and field. And then when it comes to goalball, I mean, definitely I was busy in college, that's for darn sure. But with goalball, there are a lot of things that kind of translate over, with the throwing and things like that. So those things do work hand in hand. And even to this day, I'll reference a lot of things that I learned through track and field and through coaching, into throwing for goalball.
That's awesome. So, I mean, let's go ahead and talk about like what is kind of your daily and your weekly training look like for goalball, because I know you're juggling a job, your family, and you're and I'm sure that it's your training and everything has evolved over the course of your career. So why don't you walk us through a little bit of what have those changes been like, and how do you, I mean, you're going to Paralympics number 6. I mean, how do you maintain this, staying on top for so long?
Okay. So yeah, my routine is definitely different because I don't live out in Fort Wayne.
Yep.
And a lot of my goalball training happens when I go to Fort Wayne once a month for training camps. So meanwhile, here, a lot of my training is more strength and conditioning based. And I will look at like my work schedule at the beginning of the week and see kind of when, my larger openings are in my schedule. And then I will plan on be like, all right, so I have this break on Monday, I'll do my lifting this day. And then I have this break on Tuesday, I'll use that as a cardio session. So depending on what my weekly schedule is, depending on what days I'm lifting and doing cardio, and whenever I get breaks at work, it's like a good excuse to work out.
Yeah.
Right. So any spare time you have, you're like, all right, maybe I'll just go do some core right now, or I'll do, I got this break here, so I'll go do my shoulder stabilization drills. And because of the pandemic, a lot of courts, like basketball courts and stuff, haven't even opened here. Like I have access to 2 gyms here.
Right.
And the basketball court in one of the gyms is still padlocked closed. So again, I still have to do most of my goalball training in Fort Wayne.
Right. Yeah. So like, where do you currently live, and what is your what do you do for, what is your job, and how awesome has your I know your your supervisor, your boss is currently letting you use their office for us to chat with you. What do you do for your job, and where do you live?
Actually, she doesn't know I'm in the office right now, so that's kind of why that's working.
Gotcha.
She's not here yet, so.
Okay, gotcha.
I
Rebel
live,
Asia.
you bet. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I work out in Gresham, Oregon at a gym, Elements Health Club. And it's a new gym, which is kind of neat. I almost like know everyone who works here because I've been here since the opening.
Mhm.
And like I'm the busiest trainer here, so I have the most clients. And then it's funny because half of my clients know each other outside of the gym too. It's kind of like a small community, which is nice.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
there's nothing more convenient for an athlete than to work at a gym.
Yeah.
So, which it just makes it more efficient. Like I said, if I have breaks in my schedule, I'm already here. So there we go. I can work out. And it
That works out.
and it also works really well as far as like traveling and things like that because I work with my clients to schedule their sessions around trips and see what they want to do, if they want to stack up their sessions before and after trips, or if they want
Mhm.
to even work with another trainer because I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks, and we'll accommodate whatever that is. So it's a good job to go hand in hand with training at an elite level for a sport.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, you've had this really long and storied career. Um, when you look back on it, what would you? Are there some memories or some successes or anything that kind of stands out above the rest, where it either just a moment or a memory that you either like this is like I just want to capture this forever, or it could be a memory where you learned a lot about a lot about yourself. What are some of the memories that kind of stand out over the course of this pretty illustrious career that you've had?
There's about two and a half, I would say, that are the biggest. The first one, of
Okay.
course, would be, the gold medal winning game in Beijing.
Yeah.
And then the SB nomination that came the year after that, because I didn't even know that was a thing. And I don't know if any other blind athletes that have had an SB nomination, let alone goalball athletes, have ever had an SB nomination. And then
Right.
the World Championships in 2014 when we won, where I also got the MVP for the tournament. So those were definitely my highlights.
Wow. That's awesome. So I mean, you've pulled down medals at the Paralympics. You've pulled down World Championship medals. Um, like what does success mean to you? And has that definition evolved over time?
Probably the smaller, more regional tournaments kind of don't have as much significance as the big ones do. Like because you've competed at this top level, the most competitive countries in the world, the value of certain
Mm.
victories change. Like when I was younger, like winning nationals was a huge deal. I mean,
Right.
it's still pretty cool, but it doesn't have the significance that it had 15 years ago.
Right. I mean, like, what would you say? Like, we're going into Tokyo now. We're just a few weeks away. You guys are just like, 2.5 weeks away from rolling out and heading over there. Um, like, when you come back from the games, like, what's gonna say that you had a successful games?
Winning a medal, preferably a gold medal, but definitely being on the podium.
I like it. I like it. I mean, have you had any you know there's been a lot of you've come across a lot of people over the course of your life. Did you have like an Olympic or a Paralympic role model or someone that you kind of styled your game after?
I wouldn't say anyone specifically, but I've definitely paid attention to the athletes that are very successful in
Mhm.
their sport and kind of analyze what it is they do that works for them. And then you kind of you don't exactly copy it, but you kind of put your own on it, see what works best for you. Like I slightly alluded to earlier, I do
Mhm.
coaching and I coach throws. So I would do a lot of like coach's eye footage of, you know, the best throwers in the world, and I would
Yeah.
compare them like in slow motion video, step by step, like second by second. What are they doing in their technique? Which has been really neat because they're like two fundamental like positions that you reach during the throw that everyone hits, and the rest are all kind of stylistic differences. And
Mhm.
so, that's one of my favorite things, just kind of look at that and analyze that and see how I can use it to improve myself, as well as, help coaching other athletes.
That's that's awesome. So I mean, you've got some you've got some younger teammates on the that are going to be with you in Tokyo. A couple of first timers, but a lot that have been to the games before. Uh, do you do you see yourself as kind of a mentor to the younger athletes, or what's your role in helping to you know grow the sport and pass on your wisdom and knowledge?
I'm sure Lisa probably had around the same answer to that. I mean, amongst our own team, we are
Uh-huh.
like the team moms. Like
Right.
if the other athletes need anything, depends on what they need, they'll come to Lisa or I because, we're usually quite resourceful and because we've been there and done that many a
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
whether it's helping them make sure they pack everything they need to pack, or if it's like a specific technical goalball question, they
Hmm.
feel comfortable in asking us, and we feel good about sharing what we know about that as well.
Absolutely. Oh man, I've got oh man, I could go on and on and on asking you lots and lots of questions, but one of the things we do like to do is we like to throw it over to the fans for a handful of questions, because we get some questions from fans that are they want to know about you, or we also get questions from people that might have an interest in the technical side of goalball. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to producer extraordinaire Mr. Bill Kellick, who's been keeping an eye on the chat down there. So Bill, have we got some fan questions for Asia that are coming in?
Kyle, we got another shy crowd today, but maybe they'll chime in with a few. But I'm going to ask Asia a question that was posed to Lisa the other day.
Yeah.
What are the chances of seeing you in Paris for 2024?
Mm, fairly small. However, there could be kind of miraculous shoulder surgeries, and if I stumble across the fountain of youth while in Brazil or something, or if they end up getting like the, K1, K2 kayaking, for visually impaired, who knows? Maybe I'll change, try a different sport.
All right. And
So
another question that she got asked was, is there a drop dead date that you've told yourself, I will not compete after such and such a date?
I tried that. It didn't work. My plan was to retire after Tokyo, and then Tokyo got delayed a year. So, I'm not going to say anything because who knows what'll happen.
I hear you there. I hear you there. Uh, I'm interested. You piqued my curiosity with the kayaking. Are you living in the Pacific Northwest? Are you big into kayaking in general, or do you enjoy the outdoor activities? What kind of stuff do you like to do?
Kayaking, being on the water. I've always loved water no matter where I live. But
Mhm.
yeah, you have a lot of opportunities to kayak and stuff here in different places. And honestly, I like the speed kayaking. However, I think the whitewater stuff would be more fun.
Right.
But like I said, I don't think that would ever, become an option for visually impaired. But it would be nice if it did.
Have you done a lot of whitewater kayaking?
Not really, just in my smaller boat down some of the rivers through some minor
Okay.
rapids. So yeah,
Okay.
I have to train up a bit for that first.
Yeah, my role is terrible, so I've only done some like class 1, 2 kind of stuff in a kayak. It's I know quite a few blind athletes that do the class 5 and beyond rapids in the kayaks, and I'm like, whoo, that's I don't know if I could get to that level. That's man,
I think that'd
that's some
be one
crazy
of those
stuff.
things where I'd have to be fully retired from goalball because it's not something your goalball coach would necessarily want to see you do in season. So
Yeah, that kind of happened with me. With triathlon, I was out skiing one winter and uh, came back to the training center with 14 stitches in my knee, and the next day, USA Triathlon handed out a memo saying skiing is no longer an approved activity. So it was, I hear you there with the coaches and everyone wanting to keep us in tip top shape and at our highest level for our chosen sport. But I
but
mean,
it's hard because you kind of have that adventurous spirit where you want to push yourself physically. And actually the pandemic did help me because I had started riding my bike as a form of working out when all the gyms closed.
yeah,
And in June of last year I got doored by a car,
oh,
which I didn't even know that was an expression. But
yep,
it's for those people who don't know, it's when you're riding your bike and you ride alongside a parked car and then they open their door into you.
yep,
And
oh,
that laid me out for at least a month. So having
oh,
that delay in Tokyo was good for me to
yep.
recover because I am definitely in much better shape right now than I was last year for sure.
Oh man, yeah. No, had a I've had a lot of friends that have been doored, and fortunately, let me find some wood here. Hasn't happened
Hmm.
to me yet.
Good.
I'm really hopeful that it doesn't happen to me. But we talk about like all these fun and adventurous stuff. Do you have like a bucket list of items that like stuff you want to do with your life? What's on the bucket list that Asia Miller's got to cross off? I mean, six Paralympics is a lot, but what else is on the list?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm sure there are things on it. I can tell you what's not on it. Like, I have no desire to jump out of a plane. So that's
No?
not going to be on the list. No, not at all. No.
Okay. All right. All right.
But, I'd be, game for doing a lot more snorkeling and diving, with sea animals, which I've done a little of, but I would like to do some more of that, especially
Okay.
with some big turtles. I'd love to hit up the Galapagos and just go explore.
Nice. Are you a big like when you what's your favorite place that you've been able to travel to with all the the international tournaments and the Paralympics? What was your favorite place that you've gotten to go and explore?
That's also a good question because I feel like each place has their own, unique or special thing that other places don't have. And so I don't know if there's necessarily one
Okay.
favorite. Like, because, it was really cool to see the Opera House, in Sydney.
Yeah.
But of course, that's, what they have there. And it's cool to be on the Great Wall in Beijing, but that's what they have there. And then,
Right.
seeing the, going to the Acropolis and Athens and stuff. So, I mean, you can find something cool to do everywhere you go. I was like going to the Warner Brothers studio tour of Harry Potter while we were in London. So, I mean, I've
Oh.
definitely done some cool stuff, and they're all so different, so it's kind of hard to compare.
For sure, for sure. Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna dive into just a couple of quick, fun. We call it just some lightning round questions, just some fun little questions. So, all right. So your goal, your goal is to be on top of that podium in Tokyo. But when you come down off that podium, we all know that we all have got a favorite, post match or post success, treat. After winning a medal, the dietitians are like, you can go have your treat. What's Asia's favorite post match or post medal treat?
I don't know what'll be available,
Mm-hmm.
in Tokyo, but every once in a while, like I do like to go to like a Baskin Robbins and get the chocolate peanut butter ice cream.
Mm.
I can definitely do some ice cream, that's for sure.
Awesome. Good stuff. Do you have a favorite like music genre or specific band or group that you listen to?
It really kind of depends on the day. Like
Okay.
I have a playlist of music I listen to when I'm at the gym, and it
Okay.
varies everything from 90s dance music to hip hop music to you even got some 80s rock in there.
All
So
right.
it can depend on my mood. It can, sometimes I'll get bored and I want to listen to something different. So yeah, it's all over the place.
Okay. All right. Are you a dog or a cat kind of person?
Dog, for sure. We can't have dogs in our apartments, but we do dog sit for people. So we do get a
Ah,
lot of dog time.
nice. Awesome. That's frustrating. I mean, I'm very lucky that I've got a guide dog, so he gets to hang out with me just about everywhere I go. So
Mm,
I hear you there. I'm loving dogs. Coffee or tea?
coffee.
Coffee. How do you take it?
Depends on again where I am and what I have access to, but like a
Yep.
little
Yep.
flavored creamer. But if there's not
Okay.
that, then usually just milk.
All right. Good
Like I
stuff.
can go if I go get a fancy coffee, it's
Mhm.
usually gonna be like a vanilla latte.
Oh, okay. All right. So do you what how about if you were to choose like chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate 90% of the time.
90% of the time, except for that latte.
Yeah, and every once in a while there's something like a wafer or something that just tastes better vanilla.
It's so true, so true. I could probably guess this one, but do you like to are you stay up late or do you like to get up early?
I want to see what your answer is if you think you can guess this.
Since you're a trainer, I would tend to lean towards you like to get up early.
That is very true. My typical bedtime would be around 9 p.m. and for work, I'll get up anywhere between 5 and 7.
Yep. Yep. I hear you there. I mean, partially the life of an athlete, but I did some personal training and group exercise work back in college, and that was yep. If you wanna make it in that business, you gotta be willing to get up early. That's for
Yep.
sure. Sparkling or plain water?
I do like both.
Okay.
But probably again, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm at the gym, it's gonna be regular water. But if I'm
Oh,
just
100%.
casually hanging out, it'll probably be sparkling water. But actually my
Nice.
favorite is diet tonic water.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Love it. Love it. So, I mean, if you're not training clients and you're not playing goalball, I mean, we've talked a little bit about some of your other hobbies and interests, but like, do you have something that you like when it's time to turn your brain off of work and goalball that what do you like to what's the non-goalball or non-sporting activity that you most like to do?
As far as physical activities, we did kind of talk about it with the kayaking and bike
Yeah.
riding.
Yep.
Yesterday, we took my son swimming in the Clackamas River. Actually, being around the water is awesome. As far as non-physical activities to kind of turn your brain off, I do read a lot of audiobooks, especially during the pandemic. I went through a lot of books.
Oh yeah. What are some of the what are some good reads that you've had the pleasure of reading? What do you recommend?
Every once in a while I do some nonfiction. Like
Okay.
I've done, read like Michelle Obama's book, but for the most part I stick to the sci-fi fantasy, mostly the epic fantasy, like Brandon Sanderson's one of my favorite authors for that.
Awesome. And then I've been having a lot of fun with this question. It's always entertaining. So you're one of the players on a goalball court, and you can pick two celebrities to be your teammates. What two celebrities are you picking?
And the first thing I think of is be like, what, professional like soccer football players that I would want.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I don't know the name of a lot of good goalies. Like that would be my go-to is professional goalkeepers.
Yeah.
For soccer.
You're thinking like I could tell you're competitor. You're like, how am I going to win this game?
Yeah, if winning was the ultimate goal, then yeah. But I mean, if you were just gonna have fun while playing, then you might want to just get some very entertaining people out there. Like, could you imagine Melissa McCarthy on a goalball court?
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
Imagine like her on one side and like maybe Sandra Bullock on the other side.
Oh
that
my
would
gosh,
be a great movie.
Can we make that? Hey, Bill, shoot a note over to Scott. Can we make that happen? Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. That'd be entertaining. That would be entertaining. Oh man. Oh gosh, Asia, it's been we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it down. I know you got a really, really busy schedule. You got clients to attend to, and we don't want to take up too much more of your time. But why don't we? I just want to give you an opportunity to let people know how they can follow you on social media if you're on social. And then any special shout outs or thanks that you want to give to to people or organizations that have kind of helped you over the course of your career.
I do have social media, not as much as some of our younger people. I am a little old school, but I do have more social media than Lisa does, which isn't saying too much. I have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but of course, we have the team social medias as well for getting a lot of the information, like just the goalball stuff. Following those are probably better. I'll say hi to Simone. I'll say hi to Ryder. Of course, I'd like to thank, my team and staff because they, they're in the trenches with you and they put in a ton of work. And especially right now, all the things, getting prepared and preparing for this Paralympics is a lot more work than preparing for other ones. So I don't know if they're between athletic trainers and team leaders and this, I don't know if they're getting any sleep at night.
I hear you there. I mean, I don't know how my coaches and and everybody that's working on our end. I don't know how they do it. It's being the athlete is the easy part. I think.
Right.
We certainly have a lot more fun. It
Yes.
certainly does. It certainly does. Awesome stuff, Asia. Well, I have one more question I like to ask it of every guest that I have. And that is, how do you want to be remembered?
Of course, a good question. you know, obviously partway for the longevity of, being able to compete at a high level for a long time and still show that, you can, live a somewhat normal life as well while you're competing, have a life, have family, have children, still compete, work and still
Yeah.
compete, and still maintain like a good level of competition throughout that time. And, I also want to be remembered for, having a lot of fun and being, one of a fun player to play with or to be around or to watch, play.
Mhm. Love it. I think, I think you are definitely well on your way to being remembered that way. I mean, I know a lot of your teammates look up to you, and I would I have a feeling a lot of your clients, and the people that you train, feel the same way. So thank you, Asia, so much for joining us on the Blind Spot. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know that I'm gonna be I'll be going and looking for you on social. So everyone, make sure you go and give Asia a follow on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Give the USA Women's Goalball team a follow. And guys, as always, make sure, if you haven't already, give USABA a follow on all of our social media platforms. We are constantly pushing out content left and right. So thank you, everybody, once again for tuning in. Thank you, Asia, so much for taking time out of your busy training and working schedule. And I just want to wish you the absolute best of luck in Tokyo. Hopefully I get to bump into you guys at some point in the village and say howdy. So let's bring home some hardware for Team USA. How about it?
Well, thank you, Kyle, so much for having me, and good luck to you too. I'm sure you will find us. We're not very quiet.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll follow my ears.
All right.
Sounds good. Well, thank you once again, Asia, and thank you all for tuning in. Once again, this has been the Blind Spot. I'm your host, Kyle Coon. We have been talking with Asia Miller, 6-time Paralympian, multiple-time medalist. I have a feeling she's going to be bringing home some more hardware here in a few weeks. And guys, we've got just one more episode of the Blind Spot before we head over to Tokyo, and that'll be on Tuesday. What'll that date be? That'll be Tuesday, August 10th, and we're going to be going live at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time, I believe is the time, and we're going to be talking with now 2-time Paralympian Matt Simpson. So be sure to set your calendars for that date and come back, tune in for our chat with Matt. But until then, you guys, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Keep an eye on the social media for USABA. Go give Asia and all of our Goalball athletes a follow. And we will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Until then, keep reaching for your own excellence, and we'll see you soon.